Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Transistors TV with your sisters, Angel Qinan, a registered nurse, and Ali.
Hi everyone, welcome to Transistors TV. Yes, which is a YouTube virtual podcast every week, every Sundays, and basically it is a virtual podcast hosted by four transgender Pinays from different cities from all over the world, where everyone, trans men and women, LGBTQ plus, and our allies meet, talk, and celebrate life as well. And of course, tonight's episode is Trans Mistakes Lessons Learned. And we will be dividing it into five categories, right? Where we're going to be talking about the mistakes that happen during our transitioning as transgender women, and mistakes during our surgery, mistakes in our love life, in our relationship, mistakes in based on our religious beliefs as trans women, as well as a reality checkup as well. So please hold on tight. Back to you, Angel, to introduce our two lovely co-hosts as well.
Yes, and because we are live, I'm posting it on my stories, and you can type in on the chat box below to let us know that you're here. And of course, we are also joined in tonight, all the way from the Philippines, Miss Sonia, the only one.
Mabuhay, Yokozo. Welcome to Transistor TV live here in Manila, the Philippines. It's 9 a.m. Happy Easter there in the USA. And of course, I'm Sonia, the only one. I'm a fashion stylist and part-time worker in events and production. So, mabuhay. Hello, ladies.
Yes, mabuhay Ate Sonia. Hello, everyone. And of course, we're also joined by our other sister, Miss Lee Faelnar, or Miss J Harley Talks. That's her new aunt on Instagram. So be sure to subscribe and follow.
Yeah. Hi, y'all. My name is Lee Faelnar, Lee065 on Instagram. And also at Miss Charlie Talks on Instagram and TikTok. Anyways, I'm an actor and I work in production here in Los Angeles, California. Happy Easter, y'all.
Yes, happy Easter to everyone. So now, before we begin our topic, let's do our fast talk. Let's actually do 3 questions. And to everyone in our live chat, please participate as well when you can. By the way, hello, Miss Salmon is my color. So Ate Sonia, go ahead with our fast talk.
Are you ready, ladies? Here are the questions.
We are.
Since it's Easter, so if you are an egg, how do you want to be cooked? If you are an egg, how do you want to be cooked?
Hard boiled.
I want to be cooked sunny side up, so it's juicy and colorful. Yes.
And Miss Lee, if you're an egg, how do you want to be cooked?
Scratched.
Oh. And how about you, Ate Sonia? How do you want to be cooked?
Raw. I don't want to be cooked. I want to be raw.
Okay, what's our second question?
Next question. What is your favorite decade and why? What is your favorite decade in your life? Me, I love the 80s. So I was an 80s. I love the 80s. Miss Ali?
I think I will choose the decade now, like the beginning 2020. Just because I feel like as an adult, I'm experiencing so much as a trans woman, and I would choose 2020 and beyond.
Miss Angel?
I would say 90s because that's in high school. I always reminisce high school.
And Miss Lee, what decade?
I don't think I have a favorite because I feel like everything is part of my journey.
Perfect.
And how about you, Ate Sonia? What decade? Oh yeah, you just answered it a while ago.
Of course, 80s because
the 80s.
I'm still a vibe of the 80s still right now. So I just miss the shoulder pads.
Yes. So what's the third one?
And of course, what do you do when you feel uncomfortable? What do you do when you feel uncomfortable? Ali?
I actually have I always have chocolates with me, so I usually like gravitate towards that. And I know that as a 42 years old proud transgender woman of color, I need to be like watching my sugar.
Miss Angel?
I fix my hair more.
And Miss Lee?
I
uncomfortable.
assess the I assess my situation so I can get to a point where I feel comfortable.
Yes, and me, when I feel uncomfortable, I leave the room because I don't want to be with toxic things and people. Arigato gozaimasu,
Arigato
minasan.
gozaimasu.
Later, we'll be more back with Fast Talk, Transistors Freebie style.
Yes, there you go. And please answer it on the comment section below. In case you're interested in that as well. Thank you, Ate Sonia. Those are great questions. Yes. So the very first question then, in regards to transitioning as a transgender woman is, was there ever a time that when you transitioned that you felt like it was a mistake? For me, I think I knew that it was not a mistake, but I did doubt myself. Just because I felt like it part of me is like, will I be able to do the normal things that I used to do? Like especially like when I transitioned at work, I was like the first one in the company then, as well as in the building that I worked for who transitioned as a transgender woman. So if you don't have someone who basically can identify with in the workplace, for me that was like hard. So for me, that was the time when I said, is this a mistake? So I did doubt myself. So I thought that in a way, if it was a good decision. Who wants to go next? Was there ever a time that when you transitioned that you felt like it was a mistake?
Lee.
I feel like it felt more like, why didn't I do this sooner?
I know. I still have that question to myself right now. Okay, Angel.
I think I had a hard time when one of our friends thought it was a mistake, and she kind of detransitioned and then retransitioned. It's just so hard that we live in the society that we get judged a lot, and we were told on the things that we have to do even before and after transition. And definitely sometimes I would think, why like why do I have to go through all of these hardships, and is it really a mistake on like being who we are? But it always goes down to, every time I think about it and kind of go back to a conclusion that this is who I am and I'm happy with who I am, and it's not a mistake. So are there times that I thought about it and doubted about it? So there were a few instances that make me do that, and it's usually when we are put down, or when we are judged by other people. But then it always goes down to, this is who we are, and we have to live as our true selves.
Yes. So, Ate Sonia, I mean, of course, in your case, it's different because you actually had like a very big family support. But in your case, was there still ever a time that when you transitioned that you felt like it was a mistake?
The moment I knew I was choosing this lifestyle, mistakes will always be part of times when you think about when you're alone, that is it a mistake? Because it's just normal that, oh, is this a mistake, right? But for me, it was never a mistake. It only becomes a mistake when people judge you and people think about who you are and what you are. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think that's the time that sometimes you second guess yourself, right? Very, very valid. Yes. So the second question then is, so after you transitioned, what mistakes did you make where you learned the most lessons from? So again, after your transitioning as a transgender woman, or if you're one of our dear friends and the viewers, transgender man, what mistakes did you make where you learned the most lessons from? Who wants to go this time? Who wants to go first this time? Angel, do you want to go first this time?
I think me personally, because obviously this is different from each people. I started transitioning, and of course I started taking hormones, and I did hormones because that's how I think it should be. I wanted to, be more feminine and like have the effects of the hormones. And I went through the doctor to kind of have that. But at the beginning, when I just wanted to try what my effects will be with the hormones, I took over-the-counter medications, and I know that my emotions were a little bit more up and down during those times, and I felt like it's not who I am, because I've always been a calm person, kind of, and I felt like it wasn't for me. So I won't say that it's a mistake, because I I wanted to do it. I wanted to try it, and I did do it, but it's not for me. So so I don't really take that much of hormones anymore.
Yes, wow. Miss Lee or Ate Sonia.
Can you repeat the question again just before I answer so I don't make it?
So after you transitioned as a transgender woman, what mistakes did you make where you learned the most lessons from?
I feel like for me, I'm not gonna. I feel like this is just growing pains. Like as we all know, like we all grow and like we learn from the stuff that we do, like when we live day by day. So I feel like um trying to fit in to a clique, because that became like totally my friend group, and hurting other trans folk by calling them names, or like even talking behind their back and saying like the way that they're transitioning, it shouldn't be the way that they should be transitioning, or like making fun of their journey. All of those things I feel like I am guilty of, and I do apologize for being a harbinger of pain to those people. And I've learned my lesson now that, all our journeys are different and we should respect each and everyone's journey. And also just more to uplift each individual, no matter like their physical appearance, their physicalities, their abilities, and whatnot.
Wow, very powerful. Ate Sonia, how about you? After you transitioned, what mistakes did you make where you learned the most lessons from?
I think the most thing what I learned is I should have, since I was so complacent, and I should have more advice from my parents, because I always decide for myself then. And I think that my parents were always in a shock whatever decision I made during those days that I was so energetic and full of those decision makings, that it's me. I decide for myself. So I think that it would have been great if it is great if my parents were so involved in that also, since I was so complacent that they already knew what I was just choosing as a lifestyle. So I think that's the biggest mistake. Should have more guidance from my parents. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ate Sonia. For me, I think one of the mistakes that I learned, or where I learned the most lessons from, was when I transitioned. I felt like I always had to follow everyone's expectations of me as a trans person. I remember I had this friend before, and she knew that I was a makeup artist then, even before I transitioned as a transgender woman. And this friend of mine kept on saying, so, a cisgender woman, let's just put it that way, or back then she said, like, a normal woman usually doesn't wear a lot of makeup. And if you really want to say that you're a woman, then you should not be wearing makeup. But at the same time, I'm like, what I've learned then was, well, that's you. If you are a basic girl, I don't have a problem with that. Unfortunately, I'm not a basic girl. So if I want to wear makeup, I will wear makeup, because there are women who like to wear makeup and there are women who doesn't want to wear makeup. So it's like, to each his own. I really, really got pissed with my friend then. So I felt like at one point I felt like I had to listen to my friend, but I realized, why am I gonna listen to you when I'm the one living my life? You're not paying for my bills, and you're not even like a family member or something. You always give me an unsolicited advice. So for me, that was like one mistake that I think that I learned the most lessons from, was we needed to still be true to our core as who we are, even if sometimes the whole world tells you that is wrong. so you still need to like really find your voice within you. Now let's actually read some comments. First and foremost, hello to Pinay and Polish. And then Miss Salmon said, I learned to accept myself before learning to love myself. My mistakes was not prioritizing self-love, which caused many problems for me that took time to heal from. Wow. Thank you, Miss Salmon. So much wisdom there. So the third question then is, why, that's still related to our transitioning, why do you think that certain groups of people think that it's a mistake to be trans? Why do you think certain people think it's a mistake to be trans?
I mean, I think it's just like how people are taught, like when we were younger. I know personally, when we were younger, we were only taught that there's a man and a woman, and there's not somewhere in between, and and that anything else outside of that norm is a mistake or is a sin, and that you're gonna go to hell. So I think that's why it's very important to teach the kids that we also exist. There are people like us, there are girls like us, and that there are LGBTQ. I mean, there's like a wide spectrum of it. And I think if we were just taught that when we were younger, it would have been so much easier for us to be able to transition and to be accepted by society. Unfortunately, as what Lee will probably know, probably be better to say it, but like some of the states here in the United States are like trying to block that from being taught in school or informed even in school.
Miss Lee, I felt a hand going onto the mute button. Why do you think certain groups of people think it's a mistake to be trans?
Well, I think Angel, I would also piggyback on what Angel said about like education. I feel like that's like a huge byproduct of us like not being accepted by a lot of people. And also, I would also say like there's a certain type of fear. Like we are breaking gender stereotypes and whatnot, and people got used to like doing certain things like and like knowing certain stuff. So like if you introduce something new, then they're afraid that their knowledge of the world has been shook and they have to take in this new information that wasn't available to them before. And so they're just trying their best to refute that information because to them that information is not, something that they can most likely comprehend, or it's against like what has been pounded in their heads like for a very long period of time. But if you think about history and whatnot, there's so many other places that still have like a variety of genders within their culture and even like practice and celebrate that type of cultures and families and whatnot. So I'm talking about like the fafafinis and all of that. So, it's just, I feel like it's a part of it has to do, I guess, with like where you were born, and like also westernization also has caused a lot of that, because if not for westernization, like Hijras in India would still be like treated like with very much reverence.
That's so true. Yes. In conjunction to what you said, Miss Lee, I definitely believe that the reason why certain people think it's a mistake to be trans is because there's not much of visibility in terms of our community being there. Definitely, like a lot of especially I think when it comes to like trans women, especially like way back, a lot of like trans women then live like a stealth life. And of course, they were only looking after their own security, which is very understandable. But I think that sometimes in order for things to be understood better in terms of, like what Angel said, like education and things like that, then if people can actually see more people who are just living their lives as who they are and being visible and having like kind of like quite a certain type of relationship or know someone personal who is trans, then hopefully that person who was at one point judgmental can actually change the way they think of certain things that they're not familiar with. So Ate Sonia, how about you? Why do you think that certain groups of people think it's a mistake to be trans?
Oh, where are those groups? I want to talk to them and educate them and tell them we are here to exist and we are here to conquer the world and we are here to stay. But those groups, well, they need to be educated more. And because I don't know where they live, and I know what culture they have because they don't understand our lifestyle. But for me, all I can say is it a mis it is it a mistake if we are some of our sisters are providers of the family? Is that a mistake being a trans that you provide for your family and you work hard for it? Is it a mistake that being a trans that you're the one that really understands what the family needs and what the community needs? Is it a mistake that they say that we contribute a lot in the society? I don't know where's the mistake. I think that they're just envy that because we know how to treat life. So I don't get it. Why do they say it's a mistake? I think it's just like being not open-minded and they just have to be open more because they cannot do anything about it. We're here to stay and offer something to the world. And I'm so proud of this generation because there are a lot of people of our community that are fighting for it. And I'm seeing it happening. Arigato
On
gozaimasu.
that note that you see it happening, can we actually do another fast talk as well?
Ding, ding,
By the way,
ding,
to
ding.
everyone who's
Yes.
having a great time, I know that it's been a serious conversation. Please support our podcast today by giving it a like. Hopefully, it can actually reach to more people who can benefit from our personal testimonials, our thoughts, as well as the stories from our dear friends as well on the live chat. Okay, so let's do a fast talk, Ate Sonia. Go ahead.
Yes,
Let's do
it's
three
happening.
things.
It's happening. It's happening. So first is let's do this. What do you do when you can't sleep? What do you do when you can't sleep, Miss Ali?
Oh, I'm guilty of this. I online browse, and sometimes that online browse turns into shopping, and I should not be consuming any more stuff. So I'm guilty of that. Thank you for that question.
Miss Angel, what do you do when you can't sleep?
I play with Matt or myself.
Miss Lee?
Oh, like yeah, sure. I think like that's like one of the biggest thing is masturbate, right? Or otherwise, like I'll just try to drink coffee.
Yes, it tires you and that makes
How about you,
you
Ate Sonia? What do you do when you don't sleep?
I watch TV and let the TV on for the whole night until the whole day because I just want to hear something. I don't want to hear something else at night. And of course, thank you, Lisa, for the next question is what phobia do you have? Phobia. What phobia do you have? Ali?
I know that last week we just talked about um, aging as a transgender woman. I believe like 2 weeks ago, right? Sometimes I'm scared too of aging. That really scares me. So I have a phobia of getting old. But I know that it's part of reality, and that's actually the reason why I think we need to celebrate each day of our lives of the present moment.
Angel? Miss Angel? What's
Um,
phobia?
I had a jet ski accident, so I sometimes like when I'm in the boat and it kind of like waves high, I get scared.
Oh, yes. And Miss Lee, phobia? What's your phobia? What
Uh
phobia?
I mean I do have a bunch, but I know what is it called again, girl? I keep on forgetting. I'm a hypochondriac. So like that's like
So fear of everything. Just of the health.
kind of fear of
How
fear
about
of
you?
getting sick like with something without even like being close to that.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
wow. And Ate Sonia, how about
Me,
you?
I feel my phobia is situations. I have a fear of situations that I know that it is not good. I can just feel it, and I'm having a phobia with that. And I said, "Oh my, I cringe." So
Oh,
that's
wow.
yeah, situations. I think I can sense when, and then I get, oh my god, yes. And of course, next question is when you daydream. What do you think about when you daydreaming? What do you think about when you daydreaming? What do you think about, Miss Ali?
I usually think about sometimes where I'm gonna be in the next 5 or 10 years. For some reason, I always think about that. Even if I live very much so in the present times, I feel like what are the things that I need to do now, and will that affect what will happen within the next 5 or 10 years? And if the things that I do now will even matter into the result of how I'm gonna be, or how I could be of service to my community within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes, very good. Thank you very much. Angel, dude, what do you think about
I
daydreaming?
daydream about a house and lot only for myself and especially for others.
That was
You
the
see,
answer
thank
of
you,
a
Margie
former Miss
Moran.
Universe from the Philippines, Margarita Moran, which is in 1973.
Yes.
So, Miss Lee, go ahead. How about you?
I can tell you exactly. I'd like to thank the Academy for this honor, and especially thank you to my parents. And I give this honor to my father, who's always supported me and made me love movies.
Woo! Yes,
Dreaming
And at
about an
this,
academy.
Academy. And for me, what do I think when I'm daydreaming? Traveling around the world. And I wish I could go all the countries and visit it. That's what I daydream about when I do nothing. Arigato gozaimasu, minasan, Fast Talk TV.
I definitely can see that hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, Ate Sonia, hopefully you're gonna be here with us. Oh my gosh, I'm just wondering which state you're gonna be at, but hopefully you're gonna be here in the US with us. On that note, let's actually
Well, I'll start with Alabama.
yes, Alabama. A lot of very good looking guys in Alabama. Okay. Yes.
Sonia,
So
the
let's
only
actually
one.
read some let's actually read some comments. Oh my gosh, Salmon is my color said something very important. So pre-colonial Philippines, so way back, trans people were revered and held high social political positions, such as the Babaylan, whom were spiritual healers and leaders. But because Christianity labeled being trans as bad. Oh my gosh, right? So basically, way back then. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Oh my gosh, it just gives me chills. So now the next question then is let's dive into surgeries, right? Like the mistakes that has happened during our surgeries whatsoever. So for any one of you who has undergone surgery, was there a mistake when you did it, when you did the surgery?
No, I have no regrets. I'm happy with the surgeries that I did. It is what it is. And so no mistakes, I think. I chose a good doctor. I thought about it really hard. I researched very hard. So I don't think it's a mistake having a surgery.
If I could share a personal story, I'm different in this category because I remember before I have all my wisdom tooth, but for some reason I never really had a problem having them. But for some reason, everyone in the world that I've been hearing from family members, from friends, that needed to be taken out. And at one point, I listened to my dentist, who's so adamant about me having taken my wisdom tooth out. I should have listened then to my manager saying, don't do it if you didn't have to, because if you're not really feeling any pain whatsoever. He did that. He actually did a malpractice. I'll be honest with you now, a little bit 1/4 or 1/3 of my tongue is numb. And I regret that so bad. So don't follow. I mean, again, as a disclaimer, I'm just basing it based from my personal experience. It doesn't mean that just because my dentist then was telling me to do it, then I should have done it. Listen to your own intuition because at the end of the day, the final decision is yours in case you're going to be doing all these surgeries or not. So again, for any one of you who has undergone surgery, was there a mistake in doing it? Miss Sonia or Miss Lee? Go ahead, that's Sonia.
Oh yeah. Oh, me. Oh, surgery mistake. Well, as Miss Regina Herona, one of the semi-finalists in the Binibining Pilipinas of 1980, of the 80s, Angel, she said, plastic surgery is so unnatural. So I won't undergo any plastic surgery. So for me, I don't believe in plastic surgery. It's a joke. Well, lady time. I'm a walking a walking buffet of surgery here. So I don't know if there was a mistake. I just feel like that this is one of it is one of the decision that I thought about it because I thought about it and I think it is beneficial to my body and I think that I s- I was aiming for something so I never thought of it as a mistake. It may be risky, but you just have to you just have to accept what will happen, and there are so many revisions for it. But so far so good. So no mistake here. No mistake here. I'm satisfied. I'm contented. And yes, I don't believe in plastic surgery. Sorry.
Oh, I love that, Ate Sonia. Thank you for reliving some beauty queens from the past. Miss Lee, how about you? What do you think
I
about
would
it?
I would say as somebody who's gone through a lot of like um counseling and mental health, and actually like the best thing that I've heard was from like this pastor who's also trans, saying like, why does everything have to be right or wrong? Um there only can be the best choice for you at that moment. So even though there are things that I've done that I know has caused me more anxiety or whatnot, framing it like it's been the best choice for me at that moment has changed, like kind of like alleviated a lot of like the anxiety and whatnot. However, that also created like a better push for me to make sure like there's access to transgender healthcare, because like I don't want anyone to have to what do you call this, to have to um second get or like not have like the best quality of care just because they can't afford it, or because like the government's not allowing it for people like us because they think like we're not supposed to be taken care of. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. Yes. Because of course, at the end of the day, like I think we're very lucky, for example, here in the US, that for example, our insurance policy covers a lot of like certain types of surgery, such as I'm not sure if I'm saying this the right way, like the sexual reassignment surgery, which is the bottom surgery, or things like that. And with certain types of another surgery that you think that's offered as well that's covered by insurance is facial feminization surgery. Again, I'm not sure if I'm up to date with the terminology, but yes, I do agree with you, Miss Lee, that it's hopefully like, you know, in the global spectrum that others can also have access to that as well. So
In
we
terms
actually
of
have a
the
question.
since you
Go ahead.
mentioned terminologies, it's gender affirmation surgery now is the most current term for the bottom surgery, and in terms
Correct.
of like insurance, it's relatively new. It's not really like something that's been covered for the longest time. It's really something relatively new, and I don't know if all of the insurances covers that at this time.
It
But there
also,
are insurances that covers it. But Lee would be
yeah,
a lot better.
like also like it's dependent on your company. I mean, what insurance plan they got for like the employees of that company. It varies, like it really does vary. So sometimes like people really have to fight in order to obtain that type of what do you call this, the type of
Getting the service.
healthcare. Yeah, healthcare. And also like gender affirmation surgery is both bottom surgery and top surgery. It just depends what types of surgery that you need. Gender affirmation surgery encompasses every type of surgery that affirms your gender and makes you more comfortable as the person that you want to express yourself outwardly.
Yes, very serious matter. Surgery, surgery, surgery. Kuya Roderick actually has a very, very good question. And by the way, hello to Miss Julie.
Hi,
Miss Julie
Julie.
actually,
We just saw
yes,
actually Miss Julie today, and we posted her picture on Instagram on our
yes.
Instagram.
Miss Julie said it's mostly ignorance of human nature and variables in behaviors which are inherent from birth. Yes. Thank you for that, Miss Julie. Wow, so powerful. Um, so Kuya Roderick said, is there a trans mistake you committed that you think you might make again in the future? Again, is there a trans mistake you committed that you think you might make again in the future?
There's a lot. I think because we were conditioned a certain thing, it doesn't just go away quickly by just saying, that it should be this, it should be that, and then it's never gonna happen. I know I'm guilty of like sometimes maybe selling myself short or putting myself down just because I'm trans, just because I'm accepted by other people, that I should be super grateful for everybody who's accepting you for who you are, or for but that should really be a norm. It should be really like that you're confident, and and you should actually demand for that respect and not be super like grateful for that. So I think selling myself short, being trans, at least they're like nice to me because I'm trans, or at least they're not like, like whatever it is that could happen. So I think like that's one example of a mistake I think that I do a lot, is selling myself short, or being so grateful for people to be respectful of me. But that should be a common like human goodness, to be just good with everybody.
Thank you, Angel. Very valid point. Miss Lee, go ahead.
I feel like I still do this often, and I'm guilty of it. Is trying to being ignorant with like new terms that come out, and also not trying to keep myself up to date, especially when I try to like have platforms and whatnot where I talk about these issues, and then I'm kind of behind with the terms and whatnot. Also, not knowing my history, I'm hella guilty of that, because it's also important to know like terms from the past so that I can also understand where like my ancestors came from, and understand that. I know I'm still gonna be able to commit that, because I get lazy. Like I'm not like on top of things all the time. And also I'm very much guilty of misgendering. I feel like not because it's intentional, but because sometimes like it's just your mind associates a person, and then you just keep on thinking, or like you don't even think of the person, you just think of the name, and like how it was taught to you by society, being a masculine or a feminine name kind of makes it very like muddled in my brain. So I misgender often, which just goes to show that even if we try our darnest, we still can make mistakes. So the only thing is to try to make sure that you catch it and apologize and try to move on after you've done those.
And I do agree with you. I definitely like to apologize right after if I can actually catch myself, um, being on the wrong side. Ate Sonia, how about you? How would you answer that question? Is there a trans mistake you committed that you think you might make again in the future, according to Queer Roderick?
Thank you, Roderick, for that wonderful and what a very cool question that you're talking about. Well, I'm really in my 50 years of existence. I'm still thinking of the trans mistakes I did, but and when it happens, I think, oh, I already did this mistake, so it can happen again. So for me, the most thing that I can remember, the mistake that I really during my trans was just being very abusive of my body. The drinking, the drugs, and the overuse your body in all terms. So I think that in those, I think that I really knew that what is now, see, that what happened then, that now my body already felt it. So I think that's just it. The drug, the alcohol, the abuse, just abusing your body. I think that's a mistake, trans mistake, because I was just a happy go lucky person then. So that's it.
Thank you for that very honest answer. Well, my answer will be very much related to our next um category, which is like love life and relationships. I think one of the mistakes that I did, or that I committed as a transgender woman, that hopefully will not happen again in the future. Again, I'm saying this, that I hope it will not happen again in the future. I remember at one point that this guy, one of my trans friends dated this guy, right? And then they already broke up, and it's been a while that they've already broken up. And but this was like early years of like transitioning, things like that. And then this guy basically saw me in a dating app and things like that. and then wanted to like pursue me, to date me. And nothing has happened then yet, physically whatsoever. And then what I did was I thought that the right thing to do then, even if I knew that they were not together anymore, was for me to ask permission from this trans person that I know. And so I did that. I'm not sure if I overthought of it or things like that. And I asked permission from her. She said, yes, you can date him because we're not together anymore. And then guess what? The next day, I appeared to be the bad person. Like, because this person said that it was like I basically snaked this guy from her. So the lesson here is next time, I think in the future, as much as possible, if I know that a guy has dated a fellow trans friend of mine or someone who kind of like I'm familiar with, as much as possible, I will stay away from that guy because there's still a lot of man fishes in the sea. So yeah, and then there's already and for me, my community sometimes is more important than some of these guys because there will always be guys out there, but sometimes once you lose a friendship or things like that, it's really hard to patch things up, regardless of how many times you ask for forgiveness from this person. So that's hopefully something that I hope will not happen again in the future. So there you go. Oh my gosh, what a great question, Kuya Roderick. And hello, Michael Gregory. And Miss Julie said, daydreaming is usually about traveling. I guess that's like related to like one of our earlier questions a while ago. And yes, oh my gosh, when we daydream, we love to travel as well. Yes. So now my next question then is, in regards to like love life or relationships is, and you can answer this if you like or not. Is it a mistake to be single? Is it a mistake to be single? Who wants to answer this first?
The obvious answer is no, so I'll say no. Ate Sonia, go. Ate Sonia.
Ate Sonia, how about you? Is it a mistake to be single?
No, it is not a mistake. There is no mistake. No, it's not a mistake. I'm enjoying my 50s, so I'm single right now and I'm enjoying it. And I've always said a man will come. It is the bonus in my life. So for now, I'm single because in my 20s, in my 30s, I was full of love like there going on. So I think my 50s, I'm now as a single person, I'm learning to love myself more. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you, Miss Ate Sonia. How about you, Miss Lee? Is it a mistake to be single?
If it is, it's the best mistake I've ever made.
I love that question. I mean, answer. So is it a mistake to be single? It's definitely not a mistake to be single. I think the one great thing about being single is that you can technically do whatever it is that you want. And of course, just like what Ate Sonia said, when that time comes, hopefully that you get to meet someone that you've enjoyed your times as well being single so that you can really fully commit and give yourself to this person in your life. So the next question that's related to love life in terms of mistakes is, what mistakes did you encounter during dating and what did you do to resolve it? What mistakes did you encounter during dating and what did you do to resolve it?
Similar to my answer earlier, I think selling yourself short in dating is a big mistake. I think you should like value yourself and you should know that other people should value you how you value yourself as well. So I think that's one of my biggest mistakes, like especially early on in dating, is that I'm willing to compromise a lot just to date somebody. But you know, you live and you learn, and then you find the right person. You have to kiss many frogs before you can kiss a prince.
Exactly. Miss Lee, how about you? What mistakes did you encounter during dating and what did you learn to resolve it?
What mistakes did I encounter during dating? I don't really know. Like, I think like the same thing with like angel. Okay, let me just phrase it this way. I feel like I thought I needed somebody so that I could feel whole. But then I realized that, I don't. And I can just be whole by my being by myself, and I don't have to force anything to happen. I just need to find somebody to complement my being rather than to complete me.
Yes, very important. Being whole. Yes. WHOLE. Whole. Yes. Miss Sonia, how about you? What kind of hole? No, I'm kidding. What mistakes did you encounter during dating and what did you do to resolve it?
Oh, what a hole. I'm also looking for that hole. Well, and mistakes, I would just like to say that if I say it when I was working in Japan, because it is a mandatory thing that you go out for a date with your client. So I think it's as I've said, I only go out. It's just boils in those times that you just have to go out with this person because it's part of your job. So even though you don't like him, you just have to show him you like him, so the mistake I got from and learned from and how I resolve this is time management, because during those days I was very poor in time management. So it's just like it was just overlapping of having having coffee four times a day, because you go out with them, and I mean at that night you're so you're so rattling. So about overlapping of you go inside your apartment, then you go out because you just have to look outside if your date already left because somebody is waiting another date is waiting. So I think the mistake was a time management, and I was just like, oh wow, and suddenly I was the one who suffered because they knew I was dating a lot of guys then, because it just become part of, for me it's work, it was work, but some clients told it was like something personal for them. So I think that's the mistake. So it was a lot of sorry. So you win some, you lose some, but that's life. So as I said, there are many frogs in the ocean or in the lake. I don't know.
And fish. So
Or
you since you mentioned time management, I have a question. Was there a time that two guys were on the same place trying to date you?
Yes, because I have, since I don't wanna be there was in one place in Tokyo, in beside 2 blocks away from our apartment, there is a coffee shop. So I always, that was our meeting, that was my meeting place of people that I want to have a date then. So the moment that I have a date then, I'm meeting someone, another guy I was dating was there having coffee, but we don't have any schedule. But so the moment I opened the door, he was there, and I said, and the other one was waiting. I said, and I just shut the door and just ran away. And oh my god! And I thought I was done with it, but at nighttime they were there. They were there at the club, and they said, "What happened?" So yes, there are lots of times. There's lots of times. So you just like, oh my god, what will I do? That's it. But
See, perfect example that Ate Sonia walks away when she gets anxiety.
yes.
Back to
But
you,
this is
Ali.
actually very good.
I leave. I just left them both.
But this is a true example as well of like how, I mean, those were really the days of how it was then being
Yes.
an entertainer in Japan, right? And I think it was a norm then for like a trans Filipina to be an entertainer in Japan and to be dating like so many guys. I mean, I think I find that fascinating that it was like a normal thing that you get to date 4 guys in like one day and then still proceed in the evening and see all the guys that you've dated during the day there as well. I mean, I think that's really, really fascinating.
Yes. I just like to say it is normal. It's just part of work. You just give time to them. You just have to have coffee, 10 minutes of their time because you're exceeding effort for them. And as I've said, there is a term in Japan, in our workplace that you call it dohan. It means that if you have a dohan, you go out with a customer, with a client, and then after going out with them, you take him directly to the club at night, and you earn from that. So it's called dohan. So when your manager tells you, oh, do you have a dohan? Do you have someone? Do you have already a customer coming this night? So you're already. So if you said yes, I have 2. coming. So it means that you're good for that night. You have two customers, confirmed customers coming. So it's a done. You bring the customers after your date, after eating, and you go to the club directly. So you know, some customers will know who are you dating. They're just so quiet, and they know who are you going out with, dating with, and they're, despite they're very cold and not so many, not so very observant, but they are observant, and they know who you date, and they know who is your boyfriend. It's just, they're so schemy also.
Well, but I
Arigato
think that's
gozaimasu.
like the great thing about it is like it's very there's like civility about it, because everyone knew that that was just the norm, and it's just nice to know that at that time people were like so open-minded. It almost seems like an open relationship slash business negotiation as well. So
Yes.
yeah. So thank you for that. Oh my gosh. See? Okay, so the next question then is let's actually proceed to certain answers. Kuya Roderick said in one of our questions a while ago that I don't harm anybody by being single. So I don't think it's a mistake. So hi Miss Lally, by the way, nice to see you. And Michael said I wouldn't call it a mistake to be single. See? So many people agree that it's not a mistake to be single. So the next question then is if we could actually give quick answers because so we can cover everything. We're now going to be talking about mistakes based on religious beliefs. So did you ever think that you're transitioning as a transgender woman or transgender man or whatever it is that you transitioned in life was a mistake based on your religious belief? Did you ever think that you're transitioning as a trans woman or as a transgender was a mistake because of your religious beliefs?
I grew up Catholic, so definitely I thought about it at the beginning. I had to process that. Luckily, we our my views of a God has evolved through time, and now I actually go to Catholic Church, and I'm very thankful, and I feel like my prayers were answered because I'm the woman that I am today, which was my prayer before, is to be a woman, and I could walk in on a Catholic church and be who I am.
Thank you for stating that, Angel. Miss Lee, Miss Sonia, how about you? Did you ever think that your transitioning as a trans woman was a mistake because of your religious beliefs?
For me, well, I don't think so, because before, uh, they always say that it is a mistake. They always say, as a Catholic, but hey, all I can say is, well, before I got into if it was a mistake, why am I so blessed with all the blessings that I have, I have, I have received in my life and sharing it with the people? Where's that? That's a blessing, and I'm so grateful and thankful. And all I can say, I know that you just have to be very respectful of it. But I think the most respectful thing of what I did was, before going to my surgery, my bottom surgery, I had confession. I had confession, and I said to the priest that I'm undergoing a surgery of my gender, and he said, I think that the priest, I would just like to say that the priest told me that the moment you acknowledge your sins and your mistakes, God already forgiven you. Just do good, be nice, be kind, and be helpful. And said, pray this and pray that and pray that and pray this. So that's it. So I don't know where. I don't know. For me, I don't think so.
I actually like what Angel and Ate Sonia said because it's very sometimes I think we conform our faith depending on what religious organization or institution we identify with. But with the example of Ate Sonia, for example, I love the fact that it's between her relationship and God. And so she just thinks way ahead of her time. And I wish that I actually had her mindset as when I was younger, as when I wanted to transition. So thank you for that, Ate Sonia. Miss Lee, how about you? Did you ever think that your transitioning as a trans woman was a mistake because of your religious beliefs?
Free. I guess like when I Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I actually like now I'm kind of like so far off that I forget. I feel like it's I had actually I really don't think so because I I was so progressive even um I was such a like I'm gonna be sounding like so into myself when I say this, but I feel like I was such a forward thinker even when I was a kid that I what do you call this? I guess like it started like when I transitioned, it wasn't a sin because I felt like I it would be that or I would be dead. So I mean, I don't see that as anything that's like super duper against whatever scripture that I've read or whatnot. There's nothing written, and that was like when I transitioned. But maybe as a kid, I felt like it wasn't like right. That's why it took me a while to feel like I needed to like be on like accept what I was, and I tried to pray so much for God to like correct it, or just like one day hopefully I don't wake up anymore because of the things that I've been feeling. But I guess once I've transitioned and I felt like how what do you call this, how liberating it was and how amazing it felt to finally feel like I'm living my truth. That's when I just didn't think of any of my beliefs because it felt like I'm living my truth. And to quote the Bible, even though it might not be a literal translation, like there's a part where you said like worship your God in truth and in spirit. And like when I heard that, it resonated so much to me. Like me being my authentic self is my way of honoring the God of my understanding.
Perfectly said. I can also say that at one point in my life when I was a kid, that I always pray that one day I will just wake up being a girl. But then again, being born and raised in the Philippines, it's like a totally different mindset. But to answer the question, um, that's also the reason why it took me a long time to transition, because I thought that perhaps it was a big mistake and that I'm not gonna be able to enter the gates of heaven when that time comes because I transitioned as a transgender woman. But as an adult, I felt like, and just like what Ate Sonia did, or said, or Angel, like it's like what Sonia said, like how can you be blessed living your most authentic self if it's really like a sin, or if it's really a mistake rather. So I actually think that I wished I also had been more brave when I was younger, but then again I did not have the means to do that because I felt like I wanted to be safe more in order for me to like think of the future. But yeah, so but at one point that's the reason why I transitioned so late, was because I thought that it was a mistake. And answering that question now, I don't think it's a mistake at all. So I wish I had the same answer as when I was a kid. But you know what? We just learn, through the years and things like that. And everyone's story is different in time, regardless of your age, whatnot. Okay, so let's actually read some comments before we go to the reality check up on our topic that of being of trans mistakes. A lot of great answers. So Miss Julie said, in terms of the question, is it a mistake being single? She said, being single is never a mistake. The mistake is asking the wrong choice. Very, very powerful. And then she also said that my mistake was not telling a lot of, this is when it comes to dating. My mistake was not telling a lot of guys and girls I was trans and allowing relationships to go too far. If I only have a follow-up question, Miss Julie, then my follow-up question then is like, what happened when you did not tell them right away that you were trans, and what were the consequences of you doing so after? And Miss Lally answered the questions in regards to surgery, and Miss Lally said that when it comes to surgery, when the healing process took forever after my SRS. Back then, it was sexual reassignment surgery. As we were talking today, it's gender assignment
Affirmations or
confirmation,
affirmation.
GAC. Um, it made me question if God was punishing me. But when I cried to the Lord, I knew the God I know is a loving God. Yes. And if I could quote this from the Bible, I'm just not sure specifically which scripture, but of these three remain faith, hope, and love. And the most powerful of these three is love. And the God that I know is a God full of love. And since He loved us, He made us in His own image and likeness. We will not be the trans women that we are today, as well as everyone in our live chat and our friends, if He did not really create us into our totality, both with our strengths and weaknesses. So now, so with like the final stretch of our trans mistakes, lessons learned, let's do a reality checkup. So the first question here is, are mistakes an essential part of what we all go through in life? And why do you think so? Are mistakes an essential part of what we all go through in life, and why?
Lee is ready to answer.
Lee, go ahead.
I think like in relation to your question, like the biggest mistake is trying to not make any, or not allowing yourself the grace to make any, and beating yourself up because you think you missed the mark. Again, like what I've heard or what I've been conditioned after going through a lot of like therapy and also speaking to a lot of like pastors and whatnot, like you just, as long as you're trying not to hurt somebody and you just make the best decision for yourself at that time, then something, it doesn't have to be right or wrong, because like what is right and what is wrong anyways, so I feel like the biggest mistake that I've done in my life is trying to make sure that I don't make any type of mistakes, because with any type of action that you do, there is going to be a reaction, and some of those reactions, even if you don't see it right away, can also like be detrimental to yourself. Like you think it's healthy for you now, but you would never know down the road if it's actually something that caused harm to your body. Like there's just so many things that we're not aware of, and that's why we're not omniscient nor omnipotent people.
So valid. Yeah, so powerful. Angel, how about you? Are mistakes an essential part of what we all go through in life, and why?
Yes, it's the essence of life. It's part of us. We're not we're not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes, and I think we should just learn from those mistakes. And as what Lee said, I think not allowing yourself to make mistakes, it's more scary, because now you're gonna have regrets. So like, for example, like in acting, for example, before, I don't want to say what if I tried doing it, so at least I know I've tried. And actually, as what Lee said, like sometimes it brings you surprises, because whatever I learned from it, now I'm applying it with whatever I'm doing right now. So yeah, allow yourself to make mistakes and learn from it and live your life, because it's the essence of life.
Thank you, Miss India Sushmita Sen, essence of life. Yes, Miss Sushmita Sen is like a former Miss Universe back in 1994 who won Miss Universe in the Philippines. Miss Sonia, the only one. How about you? Are mistakes an essential part of what we all go through in life, and why? If you could give us a quick answer.
Quick answer. All I want to say is, and I already said this before. It's a Japanese quote. It's called "Sarumo kikara ochiru." Sarumo kikara ochiru. Even monkeys falls on trees. Even monkey fall on trees. So sarumo kikara ochiru. So even monkey fall on trees. Hey, everyone make mistakes, and I mean, sometimes people think about it. They think that you're making a mistake is already your weak point, and they will judge you. Oh, they just say, oh, this is the mistake you did. But eventually when you make mistakes, there are some reality things that you will also realizations in it, in yourself, in the people around you, and the people you work with, because then you'll know that what kind of people are you working and being with. So making mistake will also have realization. So everybody make mistakes. We're just people. Even saints. Even I I sent you in Instagram a video. When she was going to heaven and said, why am I not welcome here? There's Solomon, there's Peter, there's he was just like they have mistakes. Why are they in heaven? So
Love that. Very valid point, Ate Sonia. Are mistakes an essential part of what we all go through in life? And why, yes, it's part of it. It's part of our daily lives. All of us will commit mistakes whatsoever. But hopefully, after all these mistakes, we actually grow from it. We mature from it. And hopefully that in the future, that once a similar brother or sister goes through like the same mistake, that we can actually let them know that it's normal and that they're perfectly fine the way they are. And my last question then is, I'm going to combine it together. Does making a mistake make you a failure? And how can someone win after making a mistake? Does making a mistake make you a failure? And how can someone win after making a mistake? I'll answer it first. Making a mistake doesn't make you a failure. It makes you actually a winner when you actually just like rise up from your challenges, from the troubles of your life. You know what? It makes you a failure when you don't even try again. When you just stop believing, when you just stop doing what you're supposed to do. We still need to continue life in spite of all the mistakes that are going through. And but what makes you a winner is for you to keep on believing and to keep on fighting on what you think is right, because that's actually what's going to make you hopefully live a better life, not just for you, but on how you can affect other people. Angel, does making a mistake make you a failure? And how can someone win after making a mistake?
I know like it's a common theme for all of us here is that it's okay to make mistakes, and what matters is what you do after that. As former Miss Philippines Miriam Kiambao tripped during the preliminary competition, but it's how she gracefully ended the walk after making that trip, that made her win. Well, she won to get into the finalists and became first runner up for Miss Universe. So I think it's how you carry yourself after making the mistake is what matters for you to win.
Thank you, Angel. Miss Sonia?
as I said earlier, yes, it doesn't make you a failure. It just makes you realization. There are lots of realization when you make mistakes around the people around you. I've said, excuse me. So yeah, it's okay to make mistakes. So because you learn from it and lots of realization from there. So it's not a failure and it doesn't make you weak. You get to learn more about yourself and do more good, achieve more, and be a successful. Arigato.
And Miss Lee, final words from that question. Does making a mistake make you a failure? And how can someone win after making a mistake?
I think the only time you become a failure in life is if you've accepted that you are. So regardless of whatever thing that you've done, if you're just thinking like these are things that you just experience and there is like another plane or part of the multiverse that you're succeeding and you've made a different decision and whatnot, like we're probably just like one teeny tiny speck in the whole entire universe. So is it really that important to dwell on anything that you think have missed the mark or like whatnot? So I feel like the only time you become a failure is like when you resign your fate and say like I am.
Resign. Yes. On that note, let's actually do our fast talk. And then, of course, after a fast talk, we're going to be promoting ourselves. Okay, Ate Sonia, let's do our fast talk. Yes, go ahead.
I resign. Well, fast talk. Favorite cartoon character, not a superhero. Favorite cartoon character. Cartoon character, not a superhero. Cartoon character.
Betty Boop, because I like her polka dot outfit and I like her makeup and her hair.
Oh, yes, Miss Angel.
Powerpuff Girls.
Miss Lee.
Snoopy.
Oh, yes.
And you,
it's
Miss Sonia?
Penelope Pitstop. Penelope Pitstop, because she's always a damsel in distress and everybody saves her.
Oh, I love that.
Next is why do people fall out of love? Why do people fall out of love?
It's over. The sex is not good anymore.
Miss Angel.
I think you should just learn how to reinvent. If you give up, I think if you give up on the relationship, that's when you fall out of love.
Miss Lee.
Because you start walking into different paths and become different people, like totally different, uncomplimentary people.
Yes. And for me, why do they fall out of love? Because they fell in love. And now they fall out of love. That's why.
I love that. And
And
Salmon,
last is
and wait, before your last question, Salmon said that favorite cartoon character, Little Mermaid. Oh yeah, perhaps I would say Little Mermaid is my second one. Okay, so our last one before we promote
last
ourselves.
one. Oldest item in your closet. Oldest item in your closet. Miss Ali.
Oldest item in my closet. I think it's like a piece of makeup. I for some reason sometimes I cannot throw makeup. So yeah, makeup.
Angel.
I have this T-shirt that was from pre-transition, so it was actually came from the men's section, but it like has a wide like neckline because I already was very feminine even pre-transition, so I love wearing gender non-conforming clothes back then.
Yes. And Miss Lee, oldest item in your closet.
Oh my God, I don't remember. It might be my class shirt from high school, or it might be this ring that I always like wear. It's my sister gave it to me, and I've had this for like forever.
Oh wow, vintage. Oldest item in my closet, my vibrator.
There you
Thank
go.
you, ladies, for doing fast talk dances.
Exactly.
At
you.
least it's durable.
Yeah. Oh my God, love it. Oh my God, so strong. So now it's time to basically promote yourselves and your last words about trans mistakes. Again, my name is AllyCat Castle. Perhaps I'll go ahead, go first. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to Transverse TV, and please also, hopefully, you can also support my Instagram, AllyCat Castle, as well as the Instagrams of everyone here. So the only one, Qinan, Miss J Harley Talks, and also my makeup channel, AllyCat Castle. When it comes to mistakes, it's okay to commit mistakes. At the end of the day, you're still beautiful the way you are, with mistakes or without mistakes. Who wants to go next? Ate Sonia?
Oh yes.
Oh, you put yourself on mute. You did the opposite. That's a mistake.
That's a mistake. Machigay desne.
That's a mistake.
Machigay desne. Machigay mistake. Machigay desne. It's a mistake. Machigay desne. So all I can say is it's okay to do mistakes because you learn from it, and you know, and after many years you just look at it in yourself and you say, oh, I did this, but I overcame it and I knew what it is. And if it happens again, it's life. It's part of the reality of life. Nobody's perfect. Only the Lord above is perfect. So we are meant to have mistakes. So just enjoy life, and with your mistakes, you take it, leave it, and learn from it. And I'm Sonia Agbayani. Sonia, the only one in my Instagram and Facebook. And of course, have you find your eggs, ladies? It's Easter. Make sure you have your eggs and open it. Arigatou gozaimasu, minasang. Domo, Transistor TV.
Lee.
You know what? Sometimes the most unfortunate things that you experience because you think you've created a mistake can bear into like the most beautiful circumstances. It might not be for you, but it can also be might be for you, but it can also show up with somebody else. So like, don't try to beat yourself up that much, because, you know, like, fill yourself with like a lot of like grace and love and all of that, and find your tribe to kind of, so that you can talk about the stuff that you kind of want to like vent out, so that you can laugh about it one way or the other, and promote. Yeah, like, it's Miss Jarly Talks now. It's hard to spell, so like, look at my name. It's like we're doing skits, like me and my roomie are doing like comedic skits, like very short comedic skits coming from our like very wrong brains, very weird brains that I actually really enjoy. And also Lee065 on Instagram. Thanks y'all for watching.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I'm Angel Qinan. That's ANGLQINAN, and our Transistors TV also on Instagram. And obviously, we all make mistakes. What matters is what we do afterwards, how we carry ourselves, and kind of just keep showing up, keep getting better. So it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, and hopefully we learn from it. Please join us on our community gathering. I hope you join tonight. Please give us a thumbs up. Please leave your comments for future topics. If you have any suggestions or comments, please leave them below. Again, this is Transistors TV, and I hope we see you guys again next week. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye. Yeah.